Hey, it's Diana from Diana Marie Home, and today I'm going to be talking all about seeds and what I'm planning to grow in my garden this year for 2022. If you are new here, my name's Diana. I live in an 1800s farmhouse. It's a fixer-upper, and I share all about how I create cozy spaces on a budget. So I share a lot of DIYs, home decor, and gardening. So if you're new, make sure to hit subscribe to follow along. I'm also on Instagram, Diana Marie Home, and I share a lot of just day-to-day behind-the-scenes stuff there. And I also have everything on my blog, dianamariehome.com. So glad you're here. I'm really excited to talk seeds today. I wanted to do a video like this last year, but I never did, but I still did a garden. So this year I plan on sharing some of those like tried and true varieties, but also some seeds that I'm really looking forward to start and try this year. So I kind of break my seeds up into three categories. I have herbs, vegetables, and flowers. This year I'm really expanding the flowers that I'm growing because I just love making fresh bouquets for our own home and for friends and family. So I'll probably split this video up into two, like the more like food, vegetables, and then flowers, just because it's probably going to be a lot. So I'm going to grab a cup of tea, grab your drink of choice, let's sit and talk about seeds. Something I want to be better at this year is sharing products I use and love as I use them in my daily life. And so one of those things is public goods. I seriously don't talk about them enough for how much I love them. Right now I'm making their green tea. They sell a lot of organic goods and just clean products that you can feel good about using for super affordable prices. It's all online. It's a yearly membership, but there is a trial period. We love public goods and get so much from there. I plan on doing a video all about public goods and specifically like products that we use and love, but I've honestly recorded that video like 2 separate times and never shared like what I filmed, and at this point we've tried more and have loved. I just have more to share about it, so I'll probably, third time's a charm, right? But today is about seeds, so let's get talking about that. I love talking about seeds, and I don't have like a whole lot of people in my life that also love talking about seeds, so thanks for being my kind of people, and we're just going to talk all about these different seeds and love it. So where I start every year with seeds is I like to see what I already have, because I very rarely use all of the seeds that come in a packet, and just because they say that like use by a certain date, that's just when the store needs to know when to sell them by. The seeds are still good after that, so don't throw seeds away just because they look expired. Their germination rate might go down a little bit, but as long as you store them correctly, which is just like a cool, dry, dark place, they're totally fine. And honestly, I am not the best. Like in the past, I have not been good about storing my seeds, and I think it was 2 years ago, I got seeds from 2015 to germinate, carrot seeds too, which are kind of hard to grow. So don't throw your seeds away. Step one, check what seeds you have. I also like to save my seeds, so I've been moving towards buying more heirloom seeds that are open pollinated so that I can save those seeds and plant them and have a plant that's true to the parent plant. And so I like to go through the seeds that I saved, figure out what I have of those, and just get a good stock so I'm not like buying double, because I've definitely done that and it kind of stinks. How I store my seeds now is in these huge 3-ring binders. I absolutely love this storage method. So before I used to just like throw seeds in lunch bags, and it was kind of a disaster and it was hard to know what I had. I'm a very visual person, so I'm able to just, well, I took a bunch of my seeds out for this video, but I have them in these 4-pocket photo sheets, I guess. I'll link everything I use in the description so it's easier for you, but I absolutely love this method of storing seeds, and I just flip through here to look at what I have. It's easy to take count of what I have and see what I want to plant, because I don't always plant like the same things every year, but I don't throw my seeds away. So love that method for storing them. The other thing, if you're kind of like new to gardening or just want to learn more, I've gotten a ton of my gardening information from Jess at Roots and Refuge, and she has a book that is not only full of great information, but also like super inspirational and pretty, which I love. Like there's so many beautiful pictures in here. So I'll link this as well. It's a great just like source to go to for a lot of information, but I also watch her YouTube channel where she shares a lot there too. All right, the fun part is when the seed catalogs come in. So I actually purchased this catalog. Rare Seeds or Baker Creek is where I buy majority of my seeds from. I love them as a company, free shipping, and you get a free packet of seeds, which that sells me. So they have a free catalog that I also went through, but they have this like huge, you can see how much time I've spent with this baby. This not only lists their seeds, but it has like recipes and stories behind the seeds. So I really like this one. This was the first one that I went through and picked out my seeds, but of course I also went through the free catalog and found some more seeds that I missed in there. Okay, so first make sure you go through, find out what seeds you already have or saved. You also need to kind of like make a list in your head of what food you want to grow. So you want to try to grow food that you know your family's going to eat. I've made this mistake where I just got super carried away in seeds and what I could grow and grew stuff that we never actually ate and was just a waste of space in the garden, and I hate it when that happens. So for example, last year I did almost an entire bed of Swiss chard, which was super pretty and I did like it, but I didn't know how to cook it, and I wasn't really, like, we don't eat a whole lot of like greens in our food, which I should do more of, but I should have just dedicated a small section of that bed to that and then experimented with cooking Swiss chard before I did like a whole bed of it, when I could have done something like potatoes, which I ran out of room for last year, but the year before I grew those, and it was perfect because we use potatoes in almost every meal we have, and that is a food that my family uses a lot. So just think about what foods you eat as a family and that you know how to use, and prioritize those, and then the extra space, grow smaller bits of food that you want to experiment with, and then if you like it, you can grow more of that later, if that makes sense. Once you have an idea of what seeds you have and what food you want to grow, pull out that catalog, look through the catalog, and find what you think is going to be best for what meets the list of food that you know you want to grow, and then add some of those foods that intrigue you and you just want to try and experiment with. What's so fun about gardening is you can grow almost whatever you want. Like, you can grow food that you can't just go to the grocery store, even the farmer's market, and get. And that's what I love. So I just opened up to this page with my first tab, and I don't know how to say it, but Agastache. This year I want to do like a raised bed just dedicated to tea. And Agastache is something that I had never even heard of. I got the Navajo Sunset variety, and it has a minty citrus flavor. So that sounds super good. I'm excited to try that. So basically, this is where I went through, read everything, picked out what seeds I wanted, narrowed it down, placed my order, and I just went through my binder and all of the seeds that I have, and I picked out varieties that I want to share with you today. You can hear that noise in the background. That is Molly and Lily, our bottle baby goat, playing. I just posted a video about them, so I'll tag that here if you want to check them out, but they're constantly running around the house, and this is actually pretty quiet for them. But anyways, this is the basket of seeds that I picked out. There's tried and true in here, and I picked out some of the varieties that I'm going to be trying new this year, because that's fun to talk about too. Oh, hey Lily, we were just talking about you. A little troublemaker. She's so sweet. All right, be good. I think first I'll talk about the herbs. So a lot of my herbs are perennials and already established, so I don't have like a whole lot in here, and I kind of thought about doing this with my flowers just because my vegetable, this is going to be a long video, but I think they fit better with vegetables. So this I probably won't have to grow again. Hopefully this focuses enough for you to be able to see it. I'm still like learning how to use my camera, the details of it, but This I grew, was it last year or the year before, for the first time, and I don't think I'll have to actually start this again because it reseeds so easily. And even though they're not considered a perennial, the seedlings make it through the winter and come back up in the spring. This is chamomile, and I love this plant. I didn't think I liked chamomile tea, but once I grew it, this is one where I just like planted one or two of to see if I liked it, and now I want to grow as much as I can. For me, it was more of like late spring, early summer, and then it kind of like died back. So this year I want to grow a bunch knowing that it will die back and I don't have to devote that space to this plant all year. I talk a lot about this, but chamomile, fresh, like homegrown chamomile tea is so good, so relaxing. Kurt and I have been drinking a cup of it at night before bed, and it just like reminds me of summer. I love this. Basil. I love basil. Last year, I've always only grown like the regular Genovese variety or sweet basil, and last year I experimented with some. I actually started growing this Aromatto basil for cut flowers, but ended up absolutely loving this basil. It grew so easily, and it's very pretty. It's like green and purple. With purple flowers, and I used it for cooking and for cut flowers. So I always love when things can be used both for food and for flowers, and this is one of those plants. Absolutely love this. I tried lettuce leaf basil last year. This is from Baker Creek. I don't have a picture, but it's just like a really big leaf lettuce, and really loved that as well. Tastes just like basil, but it was really good for like sandwiches and stuff because of how big it was. I also would like make like tuna fish or chicken salad and roll it up in the leaves, and that tasted really good. I bought a huge pack of Genovese basil. I normally save seeds, but something happened with my basil. It was doing like really well, and then all of a sudden it all just like died. So this year I plan on succession sowing my basil, meaning that I'll put like the first batch out and then a few weeks later do another batch, just in case like something like that happens again this year, and then I'll be able to save more seeds. I tried lemon basil last year. I'm gonna do it again. Lily's eating my seeds. I'm gonna give lemon basil another try because I was able to save seeds from it, but it kind of just like, it smelled like a cleaner to me. So I'm gonna try it again, but I didn't just love the lemon basil the way I thought I would. But this year I did get lime basil from Baker Creek, and I don't use lime for cleaning, so I have higher hopes that I'll really like this one. And I actually use a lot of lime in my drinks, so since I can't grow limes, we're in upstate New York, I'm hoping that this will kind of like give me that same flavor. I grew borage last year, and while I didn't eat like a whole lot of the flowers, this plant's edible. I did put them in ice cubes, which was really pretty, and it brought in a ton of pollinators to the garden, which you want to do. So if you're growing a vegetable garden, if you want to grow flowers, if for nothing else, the pollinators, because then they'll pollinate your vegetables and you'll get more vegetables. So this is a good one for that. I also grew nasturtium for the first time. You can also eat these, and I've heard they're good on salads. I never actually did that. I don't know why, but I did like the plant, and they're kind of viney. So this year I added these Tip Top Rose nasturtiums as well, and I'm hoping if I plant them close to each other and save seeds, I might be able to get like a creamier pink. So we'll try that. It'll take some time though. Last year I didn't have rosemary. I don't know why. I don't know if I started seeds and they didn't make it or what happened, but I got some more. I love rosemary, so that was kind of a bummer. I saved my cilantro seeds, so I'm gonna do more of that. I love cilantro in salsa or guacamole. I went to California once, like a long time ago, and we went to this Mexican restaurant, and they had fresh guacamole where they like rolled the cart over, made it right in front of you, and it was amazing. And cilantro, fresh cilantro, was one of the tricks to making it taste so good. Dill, this dill package has been through the ringer. It's from Baker Creek, bouquet dill. I use this in bouquets, but you can also eat it, so another double duty plant. This is that Agastache Navajo Sunset that I was telling you about, so I'm buying more like herbs and plants that I can use in teas, and this is one of them. So this has that I think it said it was minty rose flavor that I'm excited to try. I got a couple lemon balms, just regular lemon balm, and then a Mandarina lemon balm. Again, for teas, excited to try these. White Horehound, so this intrigued me because I was reading the description, and that's usually what sells me on seeds, and it's supposed to be a remedy for coughs, and I thought that was pretty cool. This one I'm super excited to try. It's a butterfly pea, a double blue butterfly pea from Baker Creek, and this, when you make tea out of it, if you add a lemon, it actually turns pink, I think is said. And I thought that it changes color if you add lemon. So I thought that was so cool, and I'm really hoping I can get this to grow. So that's what I have in my seeds as far as like herbs and my tea garden goes. But I also have a lot of plants already established. Like I have a ton of thyme established in my garden, oregano. I believe I have sweet marjoram because I planted Italian oregano thinking it was a variety of oregano. I think that's actually sweet marjoram, which I've been using and love because it grows awesome. Again, can use it in cut flowers because it was a really good filler when it went to seed. But the Greek oregano is the one that tastes like traditional oregano. I also have sage and maybe some other perennial herbs that I'm not thinking of right now, but yeah, that's the nice thing about the perennial herbs is you don't have to plant them every year. Okay, this video is already getting really long, so I'm going to try to speed it up a little bit. Last year I tried growing celery, couldn't get it to germinate, trying again this year, and it's working, so I'll let you know how it goes, but I'm trying the UtahTall and Chinese white celery, so we'll see. Okay, here's another one that intrigued me from the description. Black goji berries. So this will be a shrub, and usually with shrubs, like they're hard to start from seeds. I have already tried germinate, so I have a whole grow set up with lights and heat mats and everything. So I started these early, knowing that I would just have to like pot them and give them more room and light. Since I'm starting them so early, I won't be able to plant them out until like our last frost day is technically early May, but we always wait until Memorial Day weekend to be safe because I'll tell you, there's always a frost in May. We'll see. I got them to germinate. We'll see if I can get them to keep growing. Last year was the first year that I tried growing onion from seeds, and I did a few different onions, but one of them was this Eliza Craig onion from Baker Creek, and it's supposed to be able to get to 5 pounds. I did not get a 5-pound onion, but I got like soft or like baseball sized onions from seed, and I am super proud of that. That is amazing. Like so many people I told I was growing onions from seed didn't even know it was possible. Long story short, you can grow onions from seed, and this year I'm gonna try to, I'm tweaking it to try to get even bigger bulbs. I think I planted them out too late. Apparently like a lot of the plant's growth happens when it's still cooler out, so I need to plant them even a little bit before your last frost. So I actually already have these started, and they're coming up, they're growing. Onions, you do when you're starting them from seed, you need to start them really early. If you direct sow them, they won't work. So I'm continuing to tweak my onion process, and I'm excited for those. Last year I fell in love with a couple bean plants. I grew these, I have no idea how to say this, Blauhilde. They are purple pole bean, and these grew so prolifically and were so good. I love these and will continue to grow them. Dragon tongue beans are also a fun one. These are like a yellow with purple streaks through the pods, and everyone I shared them with had never seen them before, and they are so good. They have a lot more water content in them, and they're just a really refreshing bean in the summer. Still looking for an actual green bean that I love. I don't know, I grew some last year, but I don't have any that I absolutely love, so I'll probably keep playing around with that. But Caden loves peas. I make his baby food, and I just thought it would be really cool if I could grow a lot of the food that I make his baby food with. So I bought some different varieties of peas to try. I have Tall Telephone, Lillian, Caseload, and Little Marvel. I've had a hard time with broccoli in the past, and like if I was able to grow it, the bugs got it. So this year I found this Chinese Broccoli Yod Fah from Baker Creek, and I'm pretty excited to try these because it's 55 days, which is super short. So this variety doesn't get like the big head of broccoli, but more of like, it's like a combination between broccoli and asparagus with smaller florets. And I just thought this would be a good way to try to like practice growing broccoli and maybe get something out of it that I could actually eat and use, because in the past I've wasted a lot of space with broccoli and didn't get anything. So I'm really excited to try this one, and I think I actually ordered another variety similar to this. I still have a couple more seed orders coming in. Carrots can be really tricky to grow, and I think it was 2 years ago I had a packet of carrots from 2015, and I was like, I'm just gonna try to grow these. Like, what am I gonna do? I don't want to throw them away, so I might as well put them in the dirt. They grew, and it was the first time I had ever grown carrots. Carrots really need like soil that they like, soft fluffy soil that they can easily grow in. Experimented with some different varieties of carrots last year, and I found this, again, I'm not going to know how to say this, Long Roche Sang onion from Baker Creek, and they are so cool. There's so many different colors. They were like yellow, orange, and purple, I want to say. I'm going to try to find a picture to post here. I love these carrots, and I left some in the ground so that they would grow seeds this year. Cucumbers have always been, I thought, easy to grow, and last year I did not have one cucumber in my garden. It was, I should take that back. I did end up getting one of my cucamelons. I'm going to try to do better this year on cucumbers because I miss them. I love cucumber tomato salads with onion. So yeah, I was missing them last year. Armenian yard-long cucumber I was really excited for last year. I think I got one to grow, but it didn't fully pollinate, so it didn't grow right. I never got to try it. These are supposed to be like a really large cucumber that I hear so many people say so many good things about. And then as far as like a slicer cucumber, last year I was really excited to try the silver slicer, and I couldn't get them to grow. So this year I think I'll try those again, but I think I'll go back to like a tried and true, just like basic cucumber, just so like if all else fails, I'll still have a cucumber. But then the other cucumbers that I've kind of struggled with, but I really want to grow, are these Mexican sour gherkins or cucamelons, and they are tiny. I have gotten some of these to grow, but not as prolifically as other people, so I don't know if it's our climate or what. They're really hard to get germinate, so maybe I just don't get them started early enough. I think I'm going to try to start these in the house this year and plant them out and see if that helps, but they're like the size of the tip of your thumb, and they taste like a mixture of a cucumber and a watermelon. They look like a little tiny watermelon. They're really cool, so I'm not ready to give up on these yet. Round cherries I tried last year, and I'm obsessed with these. Another food that most people have not heard of or tried before. They grow in a little shell, and you eat the little berry that's inside, and it's kind of like, it looks like a little cherry tomato, but they're really sweet. I grew the pineapple variety. This is from Fruition Seeds. She's right in Naples, New York, so she tailors seeds to our climate. I love these, saved a ton of seeds. I'm going to be growing. This was an example of something that I like just grew 2 of to try last year, and this year I'm going to be growing way more because they're really good, and we just snacked on them in the garden, so I never actually had enough. I've heard they're like really good to make jam out of. We definitely did not have enough for that because we were eating them all. There are a ton of different types of lettuces you can grow, and I mean, I have been searching for a lettuce that has like that crispy romaine lettuce that you get from the store. Last year I planted this little gem lettuce, and they're kind of like mini romaine lettuces. They were really good, but I liked them so much that I let most of them go to seed so I could save seed for this year. Which I probably didn't need to do because I have a ton in here, but I'm excited to grow more of these because they were so cute, they were crispy, and I never tried it, but I heard they're really good grilled. I need to try that this year. Okra I tried for the first time 2 years ago. Never knew I could grow it up north. You can. It grows better, I think, in the south and like warmer climates. It still grows in the north. I have this heavy hitter, it's called, from Baker Creek. For me, it didn't really grow the way, like this was supposed to have tons and tons of pods, and it didn't. It was more of just like the regular Clemson spineless for me, and I was reading a lot of reviews. I'm thinking that might be because of my climate, but I'm gonna give it a try. Like, regardless, it still produces okra, so I'm gonna keep growing it, but I think it might be climate dependent on how much this produces. Okay, finally to peppers. Last year I experimented with more hot peppers. In the past, I've just grown like regular bell peppers, and I got like totally taken away with all the different varieties of peppers last year, and I was really successful and really not successful at the same time with peppers. So this cayenne long thin pepper, I just grew because I wanted to make my own crushed red pepper. I ended up using this pepper so much. I made a ton of hot sauce using my cayenne peppers. They grew so prolifically, and like these plants were struggling when I planted them. They just took off. I don't think I will ever not grow this pepper. Absolutely love this and everything I can make with it. I also bought a started poblano pepper, and I'm so glad I did because I also use these a lot in cooking and in making hot sauce. So they had some kick to it, but there was a lot of meat to them, so they'd go farther. So these were a good filler for the hot sauce. I will say we're not like a huge, like we don't like super spicy or hot peppers. So the cayenne and the poblano were about as hot as it gets for us. Sweet peppers, like I said, usually just grow regular bell peppers. Last year I got really like swept up in the different varieties, and it was a total flop. Like the peppers that I got to grow, I didn't realize were like really small, and so I really didn't have bell peppers last year. So this year I'm trying California Wonder and King of the North. I just really want like classic beefy meaty bell peppers, so I'm gonna try these two and see which one kind of like is best for that. And then last year I tried growing Edgevarsky. They're supposed to be really good grilling peppers, and I think I got one to kind of grow, but just like not how I was expecting. But I really wanted to try these, so I'm gonna give them another year and hopefully they work better. So again, maybe it's a climate thing because people rave about those peppers. Okay, another thing I'm really excited to try this year is Luffa Gourd. So if you've ever had like a loofah, they're grown from gourds, and you can actually grow them yourself, and they're supposed to be super prolific. So they do have a longer growing season, so I'm not quite sure if I'll be able to make it. I think I'll be able to do it, but this is an experiment that I'm excited for this year. If you are new to gardening or have never grown radishes, you have to give them a try. I did not think I liked radishes, but I learned that they only take like 25 to 30 days, 23 days this one says. So they grow super quick, and you can grow radishes before your last frost date because they're cold hardy. So for me, radishes are always like when I want to start planting things in the garden, but it's too soon. I can plant some radishes, and they're the first thing that I harvest, and then when you harvest them, you can plant something else there. So definitely try them. You might be surprised. Also, roasted radishes are so good. I didn't think I liked radishes, and like some people that came over didn't think they liked them, but I had them try my roasted radishes, and they're almost like roasted potatoes, but they have more flavor to them. So try that if you don't think you like radishes. The varieties I liked the best were French Breakfast and White Icicle. These just grew like pretty big. They're easy to grow. I liked these ones, but because I roast them, like it can kind of be a pain in the, like I'm looking for bigger radishes because when you roast them, like some radishes are kind of little, and to like chop them up and stuff is just a little tricky. So I was looking for bigger radishes. So this year I'm trying this Daikon Radish. They're supposed to get huge. A lot of people actually use these to break up hard soil because they just like dig into the ground and aerate it. So I'm gonna be trying these to actually like eat the radish, because that would be like, I see it as like a potato I can chop up and roast, but also I'm going to be saving a lot of seeds to use to aerate new soil that I'll be working. I'm trying this red rat tail radish. So this is a radish that you actually grow for the pods, because the pods where the seeds are actually edible on all radishes. But this one grows more of like the size of a green bean from my understanding, and you can use them in like stir fry or something like that. So this is one of those things that I just have to try. Usually I have a ton of summer squash and like zucchini, and it's super easy for me to grow. Last year, I don't want to say it was hard for me to grow, but I tried a bunch of different varieties, and come to find out, I just love the regular Fordhook zucchini, just plain old green zucchini. And I only grew a couple of them last year because I was trying all these different varieties, and This year I just bought a pack of these because I just want to go back to like having more of this classic zucchini instead of like the different varieties. So I'll be going back to the classic on this one. Tramontino was something I wanted to try last year. I didn't get mine to grow, but I was out in my garden, I think, planting these. This was one of the seeds that I planted the night before my C-section. I was out there at like 10 o'clock at night just throwing seeds in the garden because I knew it was going to be like the last stuff I was able to plant for a while. So mine did not grow, but I gave some of these seeds to my cousin and she grew them and they grew like crazy. She had so many of these, she couldn't even like use them all. She was just giving them away. And she made these zucchini muffins with them and they were so good. So I'm gonna try these again this year. Only supposed to take 62 days. I'm excited for these. Finally, to tomatoes. Tomatoes might be one of my favorite things to grow in the garden. And until like 2 years ago, I didn't know there were so many different varieties. I thought there was just like red beefsteak tomatoes and red cherry tomatoes. And when I found that out, it was too late to start, like you usually have to start them from seed to have like these different varieties, and it was too late for me to do that. So last year I went crazy growing all these different heirloom tomatoes, and I grew like probably 25 different varieties. I had like probably 50 to 60 plants. In all that excitement, I kind of forgot about not forgot, but like I didn't think I needed the tried and true or like the paste tomatoes. So I was really excited for all these tomatoes to do like can and make sauce and do all this stuff, but I ended up growing like a lot of cherry tomatoes and a lot of slicing tomatoes, which was amazing for tomato sandwiches, which I love, and I like ate one almost every day. But this year I need some more of like the paste tomatoes, so I'll talk about that. But last year my favorite cherry tomato were these blueberry cherry tomatoes, and these are from Baker Creek. I learned last year that I love yellow and like dark purple tomatoes. They're so, and of course red tomatoes. I love all tomatoes. These tomatoes were so good. They were red and purple and I really liked them. I thought they grew really well. I will be growing these every year. One that's not an heirloom tomato, it's actually a hybrid, so if you save seeds it won't come back true to type, but I have to try it because I've heard a lot of good things about it, is Sun Gold. I ordered these from Johnny's Seeds. I get a lot of seeds from there as well. They're supposed to be like really sweet and they are orange, so I think I'm gonna like these. I'm gonna try saving seeds. It can't hurt. I might just not get like this true variety when I grow those seeds. White currant is one that the reviews on this got me because this is supposed to be super sweet, tiny fruit, barely 1 inch across. That's another thing I learned last year is I like the super tiny cherry tomatoes. I like cooking with the plum-sized tomatoes, but I like the tiny tomatoes for snacking on. And the ones that I grew last year that were really, really tiny, they just peeled when I picked them. So I'm looking for one that doesn't crack and doesn't peel when you pick it. I'm skeptical about these because I grew Napa Chardonnay last year and I was so excited for those, and those things cracked like crazy. So honestly, I don't even think I'm not going to grow those this year, but I'm hoping this white currant is an improvement from, like, meets more of the expectations that I had for the Napa Chardonnay. This is a new variety from Baker Creek this year. It's called Black Strawberry. I just had to try them. They're supposed to be 1 ounce marbled blue. I think they're going to be kind of like my blueberry tomatoes, but we'll see. I just want like a bowl of different colored cherry tomatoes, which is what I had last year and it was so pretty. Something else last year, since I was doing a lot of all heirloom tomatoes that I didn't really take into consideration, was the timing of them. All my tomatoes like kind of took a while to mature, and so this year I got these 42-day tomatoes. They're just like a plain red cherry tomato, I think. But I wanted something that would just mature early so I could get that tomato taste early in the season while I was waiting for like all of the fun varieties or like bigger tomatoes to mature. And these are from M.I. Gardner. Last year I also tried yellow pear tomatoes and they're super prolific, but they cracked kind of easily and I just didn't find myself using them too. This year I'm trying these chocolate pear tomatoes to see if maybe their skins are a little bit tougher, so they don't crack as easy. We'll see. Rosella is another tomato that I'm trying, just a smaller cherry tomato. It's supposed to have a smoky flavor, which sounded really good. Thorn Burns Lemon Blush Tomato I tried last year for the first time and absolutely loved these. They were so good. Pretty prolific for me, and I really like them. I actually ordered the terracotta, Thorn Burns terracotta this year, and I don't have them yet, but I'm excited to try those because I loved these ones so much. Dr. Witchy's Yellow is another tomato that came highly recommended from Roots and Refuge, and it's a really good like yellow-orange slicing tomato. Black Beauty was another one of my favorites. This took a little bit longer to mature, but they were well worth the wait. They were so good, full of flavor, and like one of the prettiest tomatoes I've ever seen. Paul Robeson was another really good tomato, really good slicer, grew well for me. I really liked this one. Along with Black Crim, I thought that was pretty similar to the Paul Robeson. I like this one as well. And I also had Purple Cherokee that I bought from a plant sale, and I hope I have seeds from that because I really liked that, and that was an early producer for me. This year I want to have more paste tomatoes so that I have tomatoes that I can actually like make sauce and things like that with. So Living Traditions Homestead recommended in one of their videos, they said they grow Opelka and Salvatierra Select paste tomatoes, and she preserves so much food, so I totally trust her recommendation. I bought these from Seed Savers Exchange, so I'm gonna give these a try this year. A few other varieties that are new that I'm trying this year are True Black Brandywine, Black from Tula from M.I. Gardner, Big Rainbow from Baker Creek, and then this one I was most excited for, I think. It's from M.I. Gardner. It's called Giant Crimson Tomato. No picture for this, but it's like a really red tomato, and what sold me on this was I think it was like 4 years ago now, he had bought like this shadow box with seeds, like seed packets in it for decor for his office, and one of the packets actually had seeds in it, and he got 2 of them to grow, and it's this variety that you can't like find anymore, like no one sells it. So we got 2 to grow, and for the last like 4 or 5 years he's been growing them for the sake of saving seeds to be able to put them out, and this year for the first time he released them and they sold out within like minutes, and I got a pack, and there's only 5 seeds. It was $5 for 5 seeds, which is probably the most I've ever paid for a tomato seed, but I couldn't help myself. I grew one of the seeds. It is way too early to be growing tomato seeds here, but since I only have 5 seeds, I wanted to grow one because I figured if I could grow this plant inside to like any significant height, I'd be able to take cuttings and just help to ensure that like 5 seeds isn't a lot, especially when you're planting things outside. Like that could get torn up by a chicken or eaten, like anything could happen. So I'm trying to create a little security starting a seedling inside for the purpose of hopefully being able to take cuttings off of it, and those cuttings will produce more plants that I can easily root just to have more backup until I can save seeds and know that I have more secure source of the seed, because you can't buy them anymore. They sold out. He might have even done a second release and they sold out. So it's going to be a while before they're readily available. So yeah, 12/27 I started this, and my camera probably won't zoom in, but it's got the 2 leaves and it's just starting to grow the actual plant. So I'm pretty excited for that. Okay, this video is super long. My memory card's already filled up with storage, and my backup one, Molly ate, so I had to delete some videos to finish this. So I'm going to do my flower video separate. I'm going to try to record that now though, if I can find some more space on my camera, and before my battery dies. Thank you for hanging out with me. This was super fun. Let me know if you like talking about seeds like this, if you've tried any of the varieties that I talked about, or if you found any new varieties that you want to give a try this year. I would love to know. Leave it in the comment box, and I will see you on my next video.